Hello again guys and girls, this is Shadow Soul Dweller and I'm coming with you again with another top 10, and today I'm doing my top 10 soundtracks. Now basically I've chosen this because I've got so many songs from different games all set up in my iPod and on my phone. I love listening to because you can get a variety of songs for a variety of moods, and I also find that a lot of you like me probably decide what you think about a game in the first 10 minutes, and normally that opening cutscene and what sort of music they choose to play is a really good example of what you're going to get in the future with it. So here's my top 10 soundtracks, and also as an added little feature now that I'm going to start doing in these videos just for a nice bit of fun is I'm going to do an excerpt from a picture. So if I give you this picture, and I want you to try and guess by the end of the video what the game is from the picture. Leave your answers in the comments, let me know if you got it or not. Of course, if you haven't yet, please feel free to subscribe to keep up to date on all my content that's upcoming, and let me know any content you'd like to see, any particular lists or thoughts you have, and of course any soundtracks or even particular songs from certain games that you like, as I will be doing a future list with that. I appreciate any input I can get from anybody there really. And as for the game, well, I'm going to be running it for a little while, but later on down the line I'm going to be holding a few competitions as well, so keep an eye out for those prizes that could be coming. Right, well, we'll get onto the list now. Let's cue the intro. Okay, starting off at number 10, it's the Call of Duty series. Now, basically I add this in because there's a mixture in there. It's very basic music that goes with it, but I think the sound and the scores they picked for this game work very well within the series, particularly within the Modern Warfare series. So it really adds to the ambience and the feeling of the game. So I definitely started off my list with that one because it just stuck to mind. And number 9, Doom. More specifically the 2016 edition of Doom, because if any of you have played that, the soundtrack's amazing for it. I absolutely love it personally, but I'm into a lot of rock and metal, and the soundtrack fits the game perfectly, and it's just pure violence and rage with music that just sounds of pure rage and just adds to the whole element behind it. So I definitely had to be in. Number 8, the Battlefield series. Now, especially as the games have evolved further and further, especially Battlefield 3, 4 and 1, well, the series have always had music scores that match up with the game style. It adds and complements to every single scene in the game, whether it be the action pace of it or trying to get the emotional side of things. So, quite frankly, it's especially just the opening up that they did for number 4 in particular just worked amazingly. I mean, off the top of my head I can't remember what the song was called, which is embarrassing, but I will open the whole game up for me instantly and drew me into one to play it, because it's fine, the music makes an emotional connection if they get it right within the games. Number 7, the God of War series. Now, the God of War series has an amazing musical score. It's just hard, heavy, fits in with every single scene, and just matches up to Kratos' rage throughout the entire game series. So I definitely had to stick that in the list, as I just find the music itself can be listened to even without playing the game. Number 6, the Legend of Zelda series. Now this literally again spans across the entire series, because the music from the Legend of Zelda series is just, I think, complements it fantastically. It's perfect original scores. They've rebooted the original theme for practically every single game to give it a good twist, right away from the original pixelated era music all the way to the modern day. Breath of Wild, I heard the themes from that the other day, and again they just complement the game so well. It's just absolutely bliss to listen to. Number 5, the Elder Scrolls series. Now for myself, I'm having to base this on Oblivion and Skyrim mainly, but I find that the music from those, it really captivates, especially with Skyrim. The opening theme, that drum amount they got in it, really comes in with how the game's styling is done. You get that good feeling, even though I know it was a small group of people that were just multiple layered over each other in the editing studio. They got it spot on, and even just the somber sounds when you're by yourself, just travelling across all the mountain ranges and the fields, right the way down to the action sequences. Just everything fits in perfectly. Number 4, the Fallout series, which, as we all have gathered by now, is one of my favourite gaming series by far. But the music has always been a perfect complement. Now, whereas the radio itself, I think, has always had a fantastic range of music, I find that I'm actually referring more to the music they have outside of the radio that they put in to give that real feel and theme of the game. As with this list, I'm trying to focus on songs that aren't official songs that have been put in later on from other sources. Just the original classic music of Fallout itself adds to the action theme. Is very distant to the background, but it adds into when you're fighting. But more specifically, when you're by yourself in the wasteland and it's empty and the sun's going down, you've got very somber music trying to make you realise that you really are alone in an empty wasteland. And it just adds to the whole feel of the game through and through. Number 3, the Assassin's Creed series. Now this is a different range of music because obviously people that have played the Assassin's Creed games will know that there's a very wide variety of places. I mean, you've got Italy, Constantinople, you've got going all the way through the Middle East, and then it brings across and you're in London. So they've also changed the musical scores to match each game, and it just works perfectly. It's an absolutely fantastic score that was done in every single way. It's added to every single game. I mean, even Assassin's Creed Unity, which is the black sheep of the family for Assassin's Creed, there you've got the musical score on that one, right? So it's just always been an amazing compliment. I think personally Assassin's Creed 4 did the best job for the musical compliment because it just fitted in perfectly with the style of that game. Number 2, the Metal Gear Solid series. Now this is a big one because I have probably most of the Metal Gear Solid tunes saved into my iPod, just because from the whole range of the action pace, the intro themes, the somber themes they put in for the emotional moments, it really adds to the tension of the game and fits in so many things. You just can't help but be drawn in by the musical sounding, and it really does touch something deep when it comes to trying to drive that point home of how you're supposed to feel for that part of the game. So that had to be my number 2. Now of course, number 1. Number 1 for me is the Final Fantasy series, because there's been so many Final Fantasy games, but the musical scores in general, no matter how good or bad the game has been, have always been excellent. Now obviously people remember particular themes from each game. I at the moment keep having the intro theme from Final Fantasy 15 going round in my head, just because it's just an amazing way of opening the game. But the themes always through the game, every single one of them is fantastic. A lot of people are drawn into particularly Final Fantasy 7 themes, especially things like the One-Winged Angel theme, when they remade that for the Advent Children films. It's fantastic to hear it done up all sharpened and clean, but even the original was fantastic. Final Fantasy 8, the opening theme that they did, was again fitted in perfectly with the style of the opening scene. Final Fantasy X took a different twist. They added some metal and rock songs into there, and it worked again fantastic with the sort of pass that it had at the beginning of it right the way through into all the action. It just fits in perfect. So I had to pick that as my number 1 because I think the scores are just amazing over and over again. Hey, with the game at the beginning, did you guess what the game was? Here's your full picture for you. Game was GoldenEye 64. Thought I'd start off on an old classic one there. Let me know in the comments if you got it or not, and if you didn't get it, let me know what you thought it was. And keep yourself tuned in, like, comment and subscribe, and I will see you out there.